everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Devil's Advocate Trades Edition. Today with me is Sandy Taylor, and I got to meet Sandy at a golf tournament, and she is lovely, and she's got an amazing story to tell, so let's hear it, Sandy.
Hey, thanks for having me, Lisa.
Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks. Thanks for asking, or thanks for listening to throw my ideas out about talking on this show. Like Lisa said, I met her at the golf tournament. We hit it off, and I thought this is a great forum to just discuss the journey as women in the workforce in general and in the trades. So, and talking about reinventing ourselves along the way for a variety of reasons, whether personal or professional.
Great.
And so I've always wanted to do something that helps women be confident that they can reinvent themselves when life throws some curves. And so I think my journey is a long one, and I've reinvented myself a number of times along the way, sometimes because of forced situations. Sometimes what I'm doing right now was a choice, I didn't have to do what I'm doing now. So I started in nursing, actually. I began my career in nursing, and at that time, nursing was not a degreed program. It was considered a trade. It was a 3-year diploma program. So I went from nursing to being approached by the industry of healthcare to come out into the industry and teach in the specialty that I worked in. So bedside nursing, now I'm teaching other nurses how to use medical equipment. And then I changed gears and became a managing clinical educator and had to hire a team and build a team because I was covering the country, and the country's very big.
It is?
Yeah. And from there, I ended up being manager for the Americas, so both Canada and the US, with managing teams of nurses in both countries, covering different territories. And then I moved into marketing and ended up being the director and senior marketing manager for the company. We got bought out along the way. So I was a senior market manager when I left healthcare, came out to the world, downsizing basically. It's downsizing that happened. I was a high paid dude, and anybody that got paid a certain amount of money just are no longer working. Just the way life goes, understandable. And then I opened my own business in healthcare, did my own thing for a little bit, but that sort of work dried up, and plus I was getting bored. And now I found myself out in the world doing asphalt. So
I love that.
It's pretty diverse journey, and it can be quite daunting, but it's doable as long as you're willing to be open and embrace change along the way. And
Yep.
I also have a son, going to be 31 here coming up. So along the way, I had the added balancing act of parenting.
Yeah, we hear you there. I'm doing that now. I do that too.
Yeah. So it's quite the adventure. You meet in all of those things that I've done, I've met and worked alongside a diverse number of different types of people, personalities. So it's been a journey. So I don't know where else to go from there.
Well, here's the thing. So I'm not going to lie to you. Like the fact that you had booked to come on, and I was like, oh my God, Sandy, I love it. And then like you and I had talked a little bit, but in those golf tournaments, you can only talk so much unless you're in the same cart together, and then you can kind of chit chat, right? And you and I weren't in the same cart, although we kind of hijacked each other's carts a couple of times so we could chit chat. But, we had talked about a couple of different things. I will tell you, it is a nice break because I went off on a tangent last week about what's going on in our education system in Alberta. And I know that healthcare is not far behind for doing something similar or, getting pissed off here because, healthcare has always been that, I don't even know what you would call it. It's always been like a thorn in like the UPC side. Like they want everything to go fucking private. And I'm not in that headspace. Like to me, we're in Canada. I am so grateful for all of the frontline workers in Canada, like inside the hospitals, whether you're doctors or nurses or clerical or whatever. We need all of you. And so I grew up as I call it a hospital brat, right? You got an army brat. I was a hospital brat. Both my parents worked in the hospital. My mom was in the hospital for like 40 years or some craziness like that. She retired a while back, and she did diagnostic imaging, but I got to see, I got to see all those things. So it's, and so I have a different respect for like hospitals. And, when you are a kid that grows up with a family member that works in the hospital system, my parents were always like, unless something's broken, bleeding, you don't go. And I was like, oh.
That's kind of how I feel, right?
Well,
you
it's like,
rarely
don't bog
see
down.
me
Yeah.
you rarely see me
It's
at
like,
a hospital.
Yeah, they're like, you don't need to go. Like, you don't. And I remember they used to always, grill me about going to the hospital for reasons that that were like minor or minute or, just not like it needs to be worth it. If you need a cast, if you need stitches, otherwise you don't come here. Like, if you're throwing up, stay home. Call the doctor, get them to call in a prescription. You know what I mean?
So
Like go
on
see.
that note with healthcare, I'll flip back to the teachers because my son's actually a teacher.
Mhm.
And his wife. So this is looking pretty daunting for them. But part of our challenge in healthcare is it does need to be overhauled, and people go to hospitals for things that they shouldn't be there for, which causes all that backlog and extra work because everybody has to be seen, everybody has to be dealt with. If you get into an emergency department, people are there for things that maybe don't belong in an emergency department. It's just cyclic. They don't have a family doctor, so where do they go? And that backs it up, and then people are getting angry, and so that needs to change. And the teacher stuff, I mean, this is the last time we went through a teacher's strike. My kid was in middle school, and so now he's a high school teacher at 31 years old. And I think about the issues at the time. So what's that? 15 years ago, 16 years ago, maybe, that he was there in
Yeah.
middle school.
Yeah.
All
You bet.
those years later, the issues that are on the table are the exact same ones, Lisa, that were on the table when his teachers went on strike when he was in middle school, like a little guy. So I think between the healthcare system and the education system, as a taxpayer, as a person that worked in it, as a person who's the mom of a son and daughter-in-law who are in the teaching business, it's very frustrating because I'm 61, I don't mind saying that, and the conversations that we're having today are the same conversations in healthcare that we were having when I was in nursing school. The discussions we're having about education are the same discussions we've been having since I was in high school.
And not that I want to be this person.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't want
Not,
to
not,
get too political.
not that I want to be this person, but what's the one thing that hasn't changed in those situations? What's the one thing that hasn't changed?
In healthcare, the big one that frustrates me, I guess, both as a previous nurse and a taxpayer, is when I was a young 18, 19-year-old in nursing school, on the table, the conversation was, our population is getting older and we don't have the capacity and we're not prepared for when all those boomers come to an age that they require or they're going to be depending more on healthcare.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's 40 something years ago plus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting here as one of those, 61-year-old looking forward and going,
Mm-hmm.
so we've done nothing, right?
So what's the one thing that has not changed? The one thing, if all the changes that we're asking for, what's the deciding people that be, which is UPC? It has always been a conservative government, and they are all about not doing that. And I hate to say that. I'm Albertan. There's a lot of conservatives in Alberta, but there's also a lot of very smart, centered thinking conservatives. I'm a smart, centered thinking liberal. So I'm not going all the way to the left side screaming shit, and I'm not going all the way to the right side screaming shit. And the majority of us aren't. The majority of us can coexist quite happily without throwing out a political aspect. But those are the people that, unfortunately, it is the Conservative Party that dictates and oversees the Alberta Health Region and the Alberta Teachers Association. So it's them. And to me, it is so frustrating that as a government entity has the power to change things and help implement more systems, implement more people, and they have the funding to do it, but choose not to, choose to fight, choose to Band-Aid.
It is, it's frustrating.
It's very frustrating because it's like, you guys have the power, and the fact that you can find $30 a fucking day to pay parents is a slap in the face to teachers. We need teachers. Parents don't want to be at home. To me, it is
what's $30 a day? What's it going to do for people? What is $30 a day?
Well, people who have 2 kids, that's $60, and that might just pay for the day home they need to go to.
And my question is, like, where do they find the day homes? Like, it's all, like I said, all of this stuff is very cyclic. Where do you find the day home?
It doesn't matter. If people are smart, they won't take it, because what I was looking at online, they had posted a thing that had said something along the lines of, if you choose to homeschool your children, then you are automatically unlisting them from the school that they're currently with. And I was like, and that was in order to get the money and the funding and then register them with, like, so, excuse me, if you take the like the $30 a day. Don't quote me, but I believe that it said something along the lines of you take $30 a day plus you choose to do homeschooling, then you are choosing not to have that. Then you're choosing to unregister them at their school. And I was like, are
It's
you
weird.
fucking kidding?
That's weird.
So I'm so frustrated by this whole thing. And I'm just like, I hope nobody takes it. But then to me, it's almost like it's like the typical, the current UPC government that's in play right now. It's like, it's right out of their fucking handbook, because she's got her head so far up Donald Trump's ass that she's like, in my opinion, it's my opinion, but I just feel like they're trying to create the nuclear family where the woman stays home and raises the kids and teaches them, and everything kind of goes back to this and that. And it's like, nobody can do that anymore.
Well, that sort of attitude it defies my entire life. Like, it means that.
Me too. Me too. Yeah. I own my own home. I'm raising my children. I don't have help from their dad. He's not here every other day. He's not picking them up from practice every day. He's not driving them. He's not making sure all their gear is washed and dealt with. He's not doing all the shit. He's not sitting with them and doing homework. That's me. I'm doing all of that. Plus, I'm running a business. Plus, I have a wonderful podcast, But I mean, these are things, right? As women. And that's why, like, whenever I have women that come on and they're like, oh, blah, 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 you don't understand conservative this, conservative that, and they're right wing, not conservative centered, conservative right wing. And they come on and I'm like, you shouldn't even be talking this shit, because technically liberals are the ones that put you in a position to have a voice. You need to shut the fuck up.
Oh, but people take their news from like social media. And they can't sift through what's real, what's not. Like you said,
right?
Centered. You read it, you kind of laugh sometimes because you go, oh, come off it. That can't be true.
Do you know what? I see these things online, and, someone, like, I'll watch like TikTok or something, just kind of be like mind numbed for a minute, an hour. And this person will come on and they'll be like, oh my God, do you know who's now funding the masks for ICE? Nike. And I'm like, I have to look into this. I can't take your word for it. I have to actually see if that's a thing. So I haven't looked into it, but I'm like, oh, please, Lord God, because I remember growing up, I loved everything Nike. My son loves everything Nike. My son and I are like two peas in a pod about stuff. So if that is actually the case, I don't know if it is or not. If that is actually the case, I'd be so sad, because I'd have to look at my son and be like, listen, bud,
no more Nike.
No more Nike. We ain't doing that. But then, it gets harder and harder, because, I was talking to some friends of mine, and I have a girlfriend that lives out in Bonnieville, and I love her to death. And she was talking to me, and she says, you know what? I decided I wanted to go out to eat the other night. And she says, and it's local. It's not a franchise. It's a local little place. But she said, what they fucking charged me, and how there was like 500 little ding, 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 extra charges for cheese, but not like, like 50, like $1.50. It was like $3 more. To wait for the dinner to take home, she had to wait. So she got a club soda with lime, $4. I was like, okay, well, like, what is it, like premium? And she's like, no, it's out of the gun. And I'm like, so it's fountain, and fountain is usually a little cheaper. So I'm like,
$4 is more than if you bought a big 2-gallon bottle.
Right? You can buy a freaking case. So I'm like, so I was sitting there and I was talking to her about it, and I was like, because she was talking to me about it, and she said, I don't know if I want to put him on blast. And I said, you know what? I said, do you know the owner? I said, Bonnieville's small. She goes, yeah, you know what? She goes, I do know him. She's like, we're not close, but we're acquaintances. I said, you pull him aside. You hand him the receipt and you say, I really like eating here. I really like X, Y, and Z, but this has me perplexed. Help me understand what I'm missing here. Because everybody screams shop local, but what you're charging me for, I could go to Tim Hortons and pay far less. I could go to Walmart and get a case of this. I could do all the things and say, and it's not about convenience. It was about bringing myself out for a treat. So I expected to pay a little bit more, but for one person to eat, and she's tiny, over $40, she's like, is unacceptable. I'm like, Jesus, I can go to the Cactus Club. It cost me $46 for a plate of food, which is steak, prawns, mashed potatoes, seasoned vegetables, and a water would cost me $46. And you're getting like pizza and some pasta, and it's costing you the same? I'm like, you need to go talk to him. Yeah, he might not know what they're charging. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I hope he does, but I very rarely go out to restaurants because of the price.
Yep.
And you don't know if you're going to get food that you like. Like, you order it, sounds good, and it may come to your table, and then you're disappointed in it. So
Yep.
I was in Canmore recently for a well-deserved girls' weekend with a bunch of close friends, and we went to a couple of restaurants that are highly rated on TripAdvisor and all the places. So we were going to treat ourselves. That was the intent. I can't sit here and tell you honestly that I think I enjoyed one of the 3 meals we went for.
Especially when you're paying that.
And you're paying all this money and you're going, it's so disappointing. To your point, I could go to Tim Hortons. I know what I'm getting in the cheese and a focaccia melted cheese sandwich, and I'm going to like it.
It's a staple in my house. I know what it tastes like. Do you ever notice that? Do you ever notice that? And I always make this. Okay, I love that you said what you just did, because I'm one of those people that if I'm really hungry and I'm going to a restaurant, I order what I know I've always ordered. I will not divert from it. And the reason I do that is because it's almost like Murphy's Law. Because the minute I'm like, oh, I've never had the teriyaki bowl. Maybe I'll try the teriyaki bowl, and it's shit and I'm starving. And I'm like, so I'm always like the same order. So I'll just be like, I want this. And then some people, they give me a hard time because I've sent plates back before because they didn't scrape the grill properly when they cooked the steak. So you can taste that, like, I don't know, 6 layers of burnt when I eat my meat, like medium rare to rare. So all it's doing is getting the lines on it and a little bit of a cook. So if I can taste your grill, the steak goes back. And I'm like, listen, tell the guys that, like, they cooked it good and it was great, but I can taste the grill. So they got to scrape the grill. And a lot of people are like, you'd send that back. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not mean about it. I'm not like, this is shit, blah, blah, blah. I give them a compliment, tell them what they did well, and just say, but unfortunately it tastes like this. And I always tell them, I'm like, please understand that if I'm spending this much money in your restaurant, I want to enjoy my food.
People get upset and uncomfortable with that. I feel if I just paid $45 for an entree, it's got to be good, or why am I paying $45 for it? And he said, you don't need to be mean. You can be gracious about it, but they should, like anything people do in the world, you should have some pride in doing it well.
Right.
100%
and I mean, I
of the
get
time,
it.
whatever you're doing, do it to the best of your ability.
Exactly. I get that there's lunch rush and dinner rush, and you might have a bad day, but don't be the customer that's like, what is this? This is garbage. I asked for this. I'm not paying for this. Like, don't be an asshole. You know what I mean? Like, just say, you know what? Hey, because they come by and ask you, how is it tasting? They're not doing that for their health. What stops them? Because I was a server for years. And I would always say, how is it? Is it okay? Everything good? And I'd stand there and they were like, yeah. And I'm like, and I'd look and I'd watch their facial expressions. And I was like, are you sure? Because the minute I walk away and you take another bite, it's going to be harder to sell at me. And then the guy would just look at me, or the girl would just look at me, and they'd be like, you know what? Actually, when I did ask, I didn't realize that you guys would. And I'm like, okay, let's make it right for you. Oh, okay, thank you. Most people are pretty timid about it because they hear the horror stories that go on. If you send the food back, they might smell it.
And I have a lot of respect for people in the service industry. I think that's really hard work. But and I believe they deserve to be tipped. But one of the things I don't like is these mandatory tippings. Like, I should be able to choose. So one of the waitresses that, while I was on my trip, was not the greatest. She chose to be rude and kind of nonchalant. So in that place, I was able to reflect that in my tip. So I gave her a tip because she had to work and she deserves it. But she doesn't automatically get 18% for that.
Oh my God, you know what? You're so cute. I worked in the service industry for years when I was younger. And I'm going to tell you right now, most people that have worked the service industry, we are the worst critics. Some of us are kind of like, everybody deserves a tip. And then some of us are like, did you work for your tip? For me, minimum wage, there are people making minimum wage without tips. Okay. So that is an added bonus. That is a reflection of how you treat your client, of how you treat the person that comes in your table. That is a reflection, because a gratuity is exactly that. It is up to us whether or not you deserve to have something more because you've gone above and beyond, or because you were very pleasant and made the experience better. Then we say, yes, we're going to tip you. But I'm one of those assholes that will not tip people. Like, I'll like, if someone
very rare, but me too.
Yeah. Yeah, like if you if you don't take my water, or like if you don't come to the table with water within the first 2 minutes, it's a point down. If you don't get my drinks within the first 5 minutes, it's a point down. If you don't take my order within the first 10 minutes, it's a point down. So if there is no,
If you don't even
if
come
you
to
have,
say hello for 10 minutes when we're sitting at the table.
I've had it happen where someone's like, we're really busy. And I said, I understand. But is there something you can do to help you? Because I'm looking around and I've seen there's places where I'll feel bad for them, where it is fucking packed. 2 people have called in sick and it is a big space and this person is running and you can tell like they want to cry. You can tell. And you're just like, no problem. Let me help you. I'm going to go put my order in at the bar and I'm going to get the drinks to come to me and I'm going to bring them to the table. Here's my order. Just get it put in and I'll go and see if I can't help you to help get my stuff. Cause I want to eat here. I don't want to cook. So that's where we're at. And there's some people that will do that, especially if you've been in service industry, you understand what it's like to have that happen to you. But when there's like 6 tables and you're supposed to be a seasoned waitress or waiter or server, because that's maybe more gender neutral. If you're a server, then, and you come out and you're looking frazzled, but there's 6 tables, but out of those 6 tables, there's no tables that have more than 2 to, or no more than 4 people. I kind of struggle because most of the time, if you've got maybe 20 people in there and they've kind of come in, if they all come in at once, it can get a little frustrating. Absolutely. But if they're staggered, which we kind of all we were like, there's probably like 2 tables that came in and then 5 minutes later, another 2 tables and then 10 minutes, another 2 tables. You know what I mean? So there was some staggered. So then I struggle when they're like, oh, I'm just so busy. I'm like, you have 6 fucking tables, bro.
But
Like,
on
it's
some
not that
level,
bad. Like,
comparing it to kind of the work I did over the years, I was
yep,
in the service industry, just different services than servers in restaurants. And in my pay structure along the way, once I joined industry, well, in nursing, that's a union driven thing. So you get paid what you get paid based on the collective agreement. But
yep,
I did well within that because I took care of the people, my coworkers, my patients, with a big smile on my face. I didn't complain in front of them about how busy we were or anything. I just smiled and got on with it. And the reward or the tip I got from there is that I didn't never had any trouble with patients being angry with me because I was always pleasant. No matter what shit show was going on around me, I was always pleasant. Then I moved into industry, and industry was a commission bonus based system. So I get paid my salary, but once a year, I get my tip, which is a bonus or a commission, right? And I get as much there as how much work I put in. So if I did a really good job, then I maxed out with what I was able to make over and above. And so that was a bonus system, but now I work with a commission system. So it's the same thing. That's the tip in the worlds that I've been in. And you reap what you get, right?
yeah. Well, that's it. You reap what you sow.
You reap what
Absolutely.
you
So
well, that's
if
my
you're
word.
not going to put in the effort, because I've had some pretty fucking amazing servers.
Yeah, me
Like,
too.
even in like little dive places, high end, I've had some really amazing servers and I make damn sure they're like 25% tip. Like, I make sure they're higher. Sometimes I won't even do the percentage. I'll just throw down like actual cash
And
on the
when
table that
when I was in
reflects.
industry, Lisa, and you'd take 40 or 50 people out for dinner at a conference,
Yeah.
I always admired the really good servers because I have this group with some colleagues accompanying me, and we're there to make an impression on them.
Mm-hmm.
So if the server adds to that experience and they're working with me to make sure that my customers have a really positive experience and the food is awesome, the service is awesome, same thing, just throw her down because you help make my evening successful by being that awesome. Right?
100%. And people are willing to do it. And, some of them are willing to do it because they know they're going to get, a decent tip. And they're like, yeah, no problem. And they go above and beyond knowing that there's a tip coming regardless. But when they get that extra, there's been a time where I've done something like that and thrown down $100 on like a $70 or $70 like tab and thrown down an additional 100. And they're like, do you want some change? And I'm like, no. And they're like, but the tip is more than the bill. And I'm like, well, the waiter did a really great job. So, but I make sure that if I'm going to do that, if I'm going to throw down an actual amount of money, I make sure that so I don't actually put it on the table. I'll actually go to the server and give it to them.
Well, it comes back to reward you over time. So we were in Newfoundland 2 years ago for my mom's celebration of life, and my dad wanted to take everybody out for dinner, and we're like a group of 20. We're calling around trying to get reservations, and of course we're doing this at last minute and blah, blah, blah. So we weren't having any luck, and I go, you know what? I'm going to take advantage of the relationship I built with this restaurant in St. John's, Newfoundland through all my years of taking customers out, and I'm going to call the manager. So I called the manager, told him, he's all happy to hear from me. They remember how good I was to them on the numerous occasions I brought groups there and repeat business. And he said, you know what? We're down a staff member, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open downstairs for you guys, like the whole bottom floor. And he brought two friends in, just to take care of us because he didn't have enough staff upstairs. So he accommodated us with less than an hour's notice. And that's because of how well I treated him in dealings with them in the past.
They remember.
And they remember, right? So,
a shout out to those businesses, in all industries that don't forget who had their back when no one else did, and was faithful and loyal and came all the time and did the repeat business and made a point of bringing you the business you needed in that time. You know what I mean? And they don't forget who you are, and they will go above and beyond for you, and they will help you, and they will try and juggle and be flexible when you call in that favor. And not that you expect the favor, but you're calling it in to see if they can do something. If they can, hey, great. If they can't, it is what it is.
It was a Hail Mary. Like, it's kind of like, if this doesn't work, we'll go back to my aunt's house and we'll whip something up. But yeah, let's give it a try.
That's the thing, is that because you're this loyal person that has, this loyal patron that's come in all the time, and you've got nothing but good things to say, and you know what I mean? And you're always bringing business. Of course, the owner's like, hey, or the, manager's like, absolutely, we're going to get this. We're going to figure it out one way or another. We're going to get it done. But that's someone who remembers who you are, because a lot of people be like, how many times have people been told that can't be done? There's not enough time. I apologize. If I had a day's notice, I probably could have worked something out for you. And that's a fair statement. But the ones that jump are the ones that they're just grateful that you were there and that so it's like reciprocity. You know what I mean?
I brought them repeat business because many of my family members, the people we had at dinner that evening, had never been there and have total plans of making that a regular stop.
So now it's repeat business.
It is.
And that's the other part of it, right? So, I mean, like, I gotta always give a shout out to those businesses that do stuff like that. Like, whether you're a restaurant or, a computer repair shop or whatever you are, if you're someone who remembers where you come. And that's something that I get pissed off about. People start to get too big for their britches, and then the loyal customers that were there from go all of a sudden are treated like shit. And you're like,
So when I was doing marketing courses, Lisa, one of the biggest lessons I heard, and this is really all on this theme, it doesn't matter. This can be applied to any industry. People make mistakes, and that's okay. How you handle it is what makes the difference. So the example they used, the case study they used, was a Maple Leaf had a listeria outbreak. A long time ago now. And they said in this case study, you don't want to be me, or you do want to be them, because there was a listeria outbreak. A certain number of people died. And before any of us had a chance to blink, the president of Maple Leaf at that time got on TV and said, it's my fault. Like, he just took complete accountability. It happened under my watch. If you followed that, because I was doing marketing, I had to, because we had to do a study on it. They lost business for about a second. That's it. It did not impact their business and their sales at all, because he stood up and said, yeah, it was a mistake. It's my fault. It was under my watch. Instead of, let's find the bugger that did that, or let's find the person, let's find someone to point a finger at, right?
Yeah, it's what I say to everybody. And it's funny because it's exactly, I've said it once on I've said it probably a few times on my podcast, where I've made this comment of, it's not, as everybody makes mistake, it's not how you fall, it's how you recover. That's what I pay attention to. Everybody makes a mistake. There's always problems inside of construction. There's always problems inside of companies. How are you recovering? Are you passing the buck? Are you finger pointing? Are you blame shaming? What are you doing? Are you a leader that's going to stand up and say, holy shit, this is my fault. This is my team. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. There was an oversight here. And regardless, we're going to fix it.
Yeah.
Period. That's all people want to fucking hear. They don't care. You know what I mean? Like, they care for, they care in that moment. But the minute you're like, absolutely, let me fix it. then they're going to fix it. But then you know what? It always takes that one asshole that pulls, like, other than, because there's two different types of assholes. There's the one on the side that's like that blame shifts and says, oh, well, you know, this person did this and this person did that, and it's not my fault. And I don't know what you want me to do, but you know, whatever. But then you've also got the people that want to try and play for all the free shit and constantly goddamn complain. And it doesn't matter how good a company does. They just keep coming back and saying, oh, there's hair in my food, or there's this, or there's that. And I just want to choke those assholes.
But even if what I'm doing, I mean, I started this job earlier in the season, and I literally would show up to people's, make jokes, tell stories, and literally my first thing coming out of my mouth, I am brand new at this. My background is this. Please bear with me. There's a likelihood I might make a mistake or two while I'm learning, but I promise you I will fix any mistakes that I make. And that has gone over so well. Now now I've come along, and we're this time of year, and I've been here long enough now, and I do know, and I'm not making the mistakes. So now, but I've set myself up. I thought that was a way for me to kind of make a couple of mistakes, not on purpose, and they were going to be good about it. But they were so good that now they expect perfection from me. So it's a catch.
It can be, yeah. But then you could just like, you know, but if you want to make them laugh again, be like, hey, my name's Sandy, just bear with me, I'm new. And then
maybe I should start next season with that same line again. Hi, I just got here, which is not a lie.
I mean, you know, but it's true though. I mean, like, and sometimes I'm also, because obviously I'm a very vocal person, but I mean, I think there's ways of saying things. So, you know, like if I'm dealing with something and I'm at an escalated state and someone says to me, I'm new, I'm like, I either have to take like 10 deep breaths because I'm probably going to lose my fucking marbles, or I'm going to be like, you know what? That's totally cool. I need someone senior with you because I'm already at this state and I don't want to yell at you. It's not your problem. I'm already upset about this with your product or this with your company. And the last thing I want to do is take any of it out on you with you being new. So stay, because then you can listen to my problem so you know how to fix somebody else's, but please find someone more senior.
Yeah. And so I'm probably not framing it. I mean, this was new to me after 35 years of healthcare, of, you know, being able to, I had to get out of bed, but just to frame it, not having to get out of bed to do my job because I knew it so well, to brand new information. So I would stand there because sometimes physically, my senior person cannot physically be somewhere with me. They're on call, like they know. And I've stood at sites and go, you know what? So don't pretend you know stuff you don't know. So I stood on sites and gone, you know what? I am not sure what to do with this. Let me FaceTime the boss. And just right on the spot, WhatsApp or whatever methodology is in play that day, and just go, I don't know what to do with this. Like, I just don't know.
But that's you showing your resourcefulness, that your team is willing to have your back, that if you don't have the answer to something, you're going to get it, and you're going to get it now in real time, not let me get back to you. A lot of times I have to do that with my clients. I'll say, you know what, that's a great question. Let me get back to you on it.
Yeah. And I
don't know.
I've done things like
I don't, it's, you know.
I'm going to take some pictures now. You probably won't get your estimate tomorrow because I need to consult my team members. So I tell them up front, this is going to take a little bit longer than usual, just in case I can't get them today, because I know where they are and I know I may not get them today. But then I just put it up front. It may take a little longer because I'm not absolutely sure what I need to do here. So I need to do a consult, and I will get back to you with the right solution for you. And I always talk that way, the right solution for you. My job is to find the best solution for you. And I'm not sure what that is right now. And wear it proudly, Lisa. Like, I'm not embarrassed by that. I don't know. I'm not going to try to plug through it and screw it up.
I don't know everything. I mean, I'm a construction consultant and I don't know everything. I don't claim to know everything. People ask me, like, do you specialize in construction? And I'm like, condo. Anything condo, exterior, interior, anything condo. And if I don't have the answer when I'm on site, I will get it, and you will have it within 24 hours, if not sooner. Because I have so many people at my fingertips that I can call. I've got people from condo calling me about insurance, about drywall, about remodels, about siding. And if I don't have the answer, I've got all those people on
all those resources. And it was just absolutely fabulous, right? And that was the same in my prior job. I'm part of a wonderful team. Like, our management team are so supportive. It's not in their best interest if I trip up. It really is not, right? It's in their best interest that I and everybody else on the team succeeds. Because if we don't, the company looks bad.
And well, that's it. And then it's funny because then you get the people that are like, well, do you get kickbacks? And I'm like, no. And they're like, so they just answer the question for you? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, why? And I'm like, because everybody has this little tiny person inside them that wants to genuinely help, teach, and train. And if I, and if I say the right things, which is, hey, I really need your help on this, and this is what it is. And it's true. I really need your help on this. I have a client that's asking me about this. It's a great question. I don't know if I can answer it from this perspective of what they're asking of me. Can you help me understand? And they'll say, sure. Can you throw me on FaceTime so I can see what you're looking at? Or sure, send me a picture. And then we'll do that. And then, or sometimes I'll have the client right there and say, can you ask him or her what you asked me? So that I don't get so we can just take the middleman out and they can.
The game of telephone doesn't get all messed up.
That's right. I'm like, we're not playing telephone here. And they will. They'll ask them the question and the person will be like, okay, well, yeah, absolutely. You can do that. But these are the things you need to pay attention to, X, Y, and Z. So if these are the things that are in the way, or these are the things that could, stifle this, then that's what's going to happen. But I appreciate all of those people that are in my little repertoire, my little Rolodex that I can call. But then it also shows that I'm going to bring people who are knowledgeable in those areas. I'm not just going to call my friends. I'm going to call the people that I know are tried, true, and trusted to be able to answer those questions. And I love that. But before we get any further into this, because I know us women, we can just give gab all day because we're lovely and we love people, and we're both salesy. But you had a really good point. You wanted to talk about women in trades and how we get here and how we go through everything. So help me understand, from your perspective, if you could look at your younger self right now, what would you tell her? Knowing what you know.
Gosh, I grew up in a generation where women, I'm talking after high school, and I was going to go post-secondary, right? Do I go into trades? Do I go to university? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And basically the way life was going at that time, a young woman, you are either going to be a nurse, a teacher, or a secretary. Neither of which I was interested in. But I was more like, I'd like to do engineering. When women in engineering at that time were like a non-heard of. And it was also, my parents were wonderful, but it was kind of like, if we're going to pay for this, this is what you're going to do. So I decided nursing was the least of those evils. That's a good place to get a start. And then once I got in there, I found what I really loved. What I was doing in nursing was very technically driven. Mm-hmm. So it was equipment. It was life-saving equipment, life-sustaining equipment. I believe that I have to understand this inside out, upside down, and backwards for me to do the best job that I could, which tells me, I don't know if I could have pushed back, Lisa, but where I belonged was in an engineering or bioengineering, biomedical tech type of role, because that's what I love. I love learning. I love stuff. I love poking. So I guess I would tell myself I should have pushed back harder in that area. I don't know about this question. If you could change anything, would you? Well, I'm not sure, because it molded who I am and who I became and the life that I've lived. And I'm pretty happy. It had some bumps along the way. And maybe I made some bad decisions along the way, but the bad decision led to a learning, led to a better decision, led to a next step. And my entire life has progressed rather well, because I've had that attitude that, you can't change it. So what's the use in sitting and pondering on it? It happened. It's done. What are you going to do from here is basically how I roll in my life, because I can't change what happened. I can't change anything in the rear. It's done.
Maybe we could jump time. I'm just kidding. Anyway, I love your answer. Thank you for telling me that. And I say the same thing. Like, my kids ask me, if you could have changed who dad was, would you? No, because then you guys wouldn't exist.
They wouldn't be here. Or there's maybe somebody here, but it'd be a different human.
Yeah, and that's what I said. I'm like, would I have had kids? Probably, but then they wouldn't be you. And I like you. I love you. I want you.
Or is that nature?
This is what I know. This is what I'm comfortable with.
So is it nature
now,
or nurture?
Well, you always get if you could take the red pill and go back 45, or go back to like the age of like 20, or go back to like the age of 10, or whatever the fucking case may be, would you do it? And I'm like, live that fucking hell all over again? Hell no. Once is enough. Because I feel like even if you changed 3 things and your path might have been different, would it have been different good? Or would it have been different bad? And you don't know. The unknown is what is terrifying to all of us. So the majority of us are like, well, maybe we just don't poke the bear. Maybe we just don't do this. Maybe, you know what I mean? So for me, I agree with you. If you have regrets in your life, then, at some level, you have to sit there and say, then you're not happy. And you need to find out why you're not happy. Do I regret having children with the man that I chose? No, I don't. I'm not with him anymore. I don't want to be with him anymore. I don't want anything to really do with him. Unfortunately, I have 2 kids with him, so I kind of got to see him. Do I hate him? No, I don't hate him. I hate what he does. I hate who he sometimes becomes. But as a person, no, I don't hate him. He's a human. Sometimes people suck. It just is what it is. Life goes on, sadly.
Yeah, it does.
But, would I have changed my major? Should I have gone to law school? Maybe. I had the opportunity to go to law school. There's so many things that, should I have been, I was a tomboy growing up. I love sports. I was very athletic. I like to fight with the guys. I didn't date a lot when I was younger. It wasn't a thing for me, right? I was more of a scrapper. I was a mouthpiece. But I loved doing sports and I loved dance and I loved hanging out. I had more guy friends than I do girlfriends when I was younger. Now that's reversed. Now I have more girlfriends than I do guy friends. But I will tell you, it's hard being a woman in a woman's scenario, like being surrounded by other women. There are different types of women. I don't know how many types there are because there's lots of us, but I mean, I will tell you, there's the women who are empowering of other women. There are the women who want to step on everybody they can to get above. There are women who will comply and be complacent to those around her, which people will say, well, she's people pleaser. But all of those types of women can be people pleasers in their own way in different parts of their life.
Different ways you do it. But I went to see a feminist speaking a long time ago in my early 20s. And the one line of everything she said that evening, the one line was, women need to stop pulling on each other's skirt tails. We need to be uplifting everybody. And I walked away as that young 20-odd-year-old going, that's right. And I just made it. That's right. Just end of story. That's right. And be your best version of you and make the best of any situation you find yourself in. Yes. And if you find yourself in a situation that is not making you happy and you're not being the best version of you, get out. Don't be that person that does the same thing for 45 years as miserable as hell, because guess what? You're going to die early. Just wake up and make a change. This is not working for you. Like, it's not working. If you're waking up every morning and you're dreading going to work for 45 years, that didn't work for you. Like, you should have stopped that shit a long time ago. Right? If you find yourself unhappy in a situation, or
change it.
Or you found so it's not a regret. You found you made a decision where you're going, that didn't work out so great. I guess I got to do something different tomorrow, but it's not a regret. It's like, well, that didn't work out so great. And hopefully I don't do that ever again, because if it didn't work out this time, it's not going to work out the next 10 times.
And that's what I try and teach my kids. I'm like, hey, okay, there's mistakes and then there's patterns. You got to ask yourself which one it is. If it's a mistake, it's a lesson you learn, you do better. Or you don't do that. Or, that's not what to do. You learn. It's a learning aspect. But if you continuously repeat the same shit, it's now a pattern.
Einstein would say it's insanity.
I mean, whatever.
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. That's what he says the definition of insanity is.
Well, it friggin' is, but I mean, most of us women do it with our relationships, right?
Yeah, lots of us do. That's a very true thing.
It's like, what am I doing?
But the other thing with relationships, and again, this is both personal and professional, depending on what you're doing. It's really key to know your audience, whether that's a girlfriend or it's a friend or it's whoever, your customer. Know your audience. Try to figure out what makes them tick. So that'll help grow the relationship with them. So, and lots of people don't take time to try and do that. Like, what makes this person tick? And it doesn't need to be a great big conversation. But like, I know you have 2 children. So and next time I meet you, I'm going to ask you, how are your kids? I might not remember their names anymore at my age. It's too much thing. But I do remember you have 2, and I can ask you how they are. And that means you make it personal. And our customer, I knew they were going to the island for the weekend. So first thing I say when I meet them on the Tuesday is, how was your trip? And then 20 minutes later, he's still telling me about his trip. But it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But it's true. It's taking a genuine interest in the person.
So, and what happens as a result of that, Lisa? That same day, he approved the job that I'm quoting him on. So I believe it doesn't happen all the time. As you're back to you talking about arseholes, there's some people that are just arseholes. But this is a really nice man, and that's what makes him tick.
Mm-hmm.
So you play that card. You know what's going to make them happy because you've had them
Well,
before.
that's it. And people want to buy and do business with people who understand them or feel like they're being understood. You know what I mean? So, and that's a thing. Like, I mean, like when I do, so it was funny because whenever I'm giving baskets to my property managers that I do work with or the boards, because I give gifts to the boards. So everything is done is hand picked. It's hand tailored. It's not just a gift basket from Costco.
Yeah, yeah.
I bought these in bulk. It's not that. And I'm not giving shit to anybody that does that. That's just an easy thing to say. We're thinking about you. Here you go. It's Christmas season, whatever. Me? No. I'm like, he has 2 dogs. He has 2 boys. She has 2 kitties. I'm making sure everything is picked. She has knee problems. He has anxiety problems. I'm going to make sure that because I make oils for that. I make like salves for the dog's paws when they walk or for the cats if they go outside.
That's cool.
You know, I make all these really cool things. I'm really big on wellness. So I will make sure that those baskets have a whole bunch of stuff. There was a year where I handed out cannabis bath bombs. Let me tell you, those things were freaking, they went like crazy. And people were like, oh my God, are you the lady that gives out the cannabis bath bombs? And I'm like, depends. Are you a property management firm? Because you probably need a cannabis bath bomb to chill the fuck out.
That's funny.
And they loved them. They went like super fast. And I mean, and yes, cannabis was legal. So, you know,
I wasn't asking.
I know, but I want to make sure because, you know, this gets broadcasted. I'm not telling you, I'm telling all the, you know, all the authorities. It was legal at the time. It's still, because it's still legal. But you know, I love doing that where you pay attention to people because I want to be paid. Technically, you treat people the way you want to be treated, but also if you're good at sales, you pay attention to that. But it's not just the sales aspect where I want to get to know 3-4 things about you that I can fucking penetrate, and then that's it. I want that relationship to continue, and I want us to get to know each other.
But yeah,
I want to know.
it becomes that. It works for your work, but then you look forward to seeing them and you look forward to talking to them.
Right?
Because you're not just
Like-
talking about that. You're talking about them and they're asking about you and it becomes a relationship. It's not somebody you're going out for dinner with or to the movies with.
Right? Yeah.
But
you develop that wonderful rapport with people, male, female, whatever. And you know, like so many of my clients, I will know their coffee order or their tea order, and I will just bring it, and they're so happy with life about that. So
my battery
I appreciate
is dying.
that.
Sorry, I have to move.
You're what?
The battery is dying on my laptop, so I'm just mobile for a moment.
We're moving. We're doing what we got to do. It's all good.
Got to plug her in.
Get out on the highway. I'm just going to close my door anyways because my kids are on their way home, speaking of children. And then they're going to be loud and I'm going to be like, there we go. We both had to move. Life happens.
Got to tell you the story about this helmet up here. I think it's a funny story. Women embracing women and lifting women up. So I worked for a small company in healthcare and we got bought out by a power company, like a big company. There's a difference between a company of 150 total in the country to a company of 10,000 employees. So it's pretty intimidating, and I don't get intimidated, but it is intimidating. Anyway, this wonderful woman, her name is Sandy as well, coincidentally, her husband was a football coach. So she came into the office one day with this helmet for me because she wanted me to have protection as I took on this great big monster of a company. And I just thought it was the funniest thing ever. And I thought it was so, because as part of the smaller team coming in, it's intimidating because am I going to have a job? Am I not going to have a job? Is anybody going to have a job? So I just thought that was a really sweet thing for her to do, to provide encouragement. She didn't know me. She only met me 3 days ago, but it's a woman, another woman providing that woman support. You're going to be okay. Here's a helmet. Put it on whenever you need to. I've never had it on. I did one.
You know, and I like when I go out to places and I meet people because I do a lot of networking stuff and I say that to women. I'm like, oh my God, you're killing it. Now, I also don't have a problem chastising women who are bitches. I also don't have that problem either. So, because some people are like, oh, Lisa, they're like, I don't, there's so much chatter that goes on, right? And they're like, don't piss Lisa off because she'll just tell you straight to your face. Because I've had people who are like, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, no, we're not friends.
Well, I
just point blank. I'm like, we're not hugging. Like, we're not like, don't fucking touch me. Keep your energy on your side.
I appreciate,
and it's like
honesty. I appreciate honesty, like in a nice way. Like it's just be honest.
If you're a good person, we don't have to always get along. I don't have to agree with everything, but if you're ethical, you've got integrity, you've got dignity, and you are someone who is about uplifting other people as well, you've got my support. I don't have to like you.
Don't get angry with me too. If my opinion is not the same as yours, why is there such a level of anger around that? What's wrong with me just simply saying, I don't know if I agree with you,
Yeah,
and I'm really don't want to have the conversation because I don't want this to become an argument because it's a topic that I'm probably never going to agree with you on. That doesn't mean that we're not friends. That doesn't mean I don't love you. It means nothing except I don't agree with that. Period. Hard stop.
100%.
Let's leave it off the table. We don't even need to talk about it. It's irrelevant.
Right?
So,
Well, that's it, right?
so that's
It's,
also frustrating in today's world. How some of the stuff that's going on around us
yeah.
wreaking such havoc on relationships generally, within families, within marriages, within friendships, and it just makes me incredibly sad, right? Like, come on, you guys. I mean, laugh at it, learn from it, keep moving forward, keep a smile on your face. So last night with a bunch of women, we went to see Menopause the musical. It's coming your way. It is hilarious, and it
Okay.
women. So it's all singing, but they changed the lyrics to
Okay.
talk about menopause. So very uplifting to be in a room with however many women were there, all with smiles on their faces, all supporting each other, all laughing and smiling at each other, high-fiving. Just, it was wonderful.
So it's called Menopause?
Menopause the musical. I think it's on its way to Calgary.
Menopause the musical. I love it. I'm gonna check it out.
So I went to the first one in Vegas, I was in Vegas with a friend and we didn't have anywhere to go. So we thought, oh, let's pop in and check this out. It's only $60. And we came out of there going, well, we stumbled on that was something wonderful. Holy
Right?
moly. And then we saw that the second one was coming to Edmonton. So my girlfriend organized 25 of us went.
So all my girlfriends are in that age range. So, I mean, like, it's not going to be hard to get a whole bunch of us together. Maybe we'll just get a limo and go.
It was fun. I mean, our group ranges from, I think the youngest is 50. And then I think we're at the 72 mark at the other end.
Yeah.
And every age
It's
in
always
between.
nice when you get when you get a nice mix, a blend of women and ages and stuff. And that's fun. I mean, we all go through it.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, that's the other part of me that really struggles with like some of the extreme left rhetoric when they talk about, like, oh, well, we all go through this. It doesn't matter whether, like, I'm a really big trans supporter, but I'm also not completely crazy when it comes to a woman. If you are a trans male, there's a chance if you haven't gone through all of the all the surgeries that you're going to go through what women go through, which is menopause and all of that, right? And you still have a uterus, you still have all of those things where you can get cancers from them, but you can be a trans male and that happens. And I'm supportive of that idea, right? That happens and that people can be trans. I'm not like, oh, everyone's like, oh, that's a mental health issue. And I'm like, maybe to you, but to me, they were born and this is how they feel. And I'm not going to dog them for it. I'm not going to tell them what they have. I don't want them to tell me what I have to do. So I'm not going to tell them what they have to do. If they are a nice person and respectful and sweet and kind, you're welcome in my circle. You're welcome anywhere in and around me and my family at any time.
And I don't have
To me,
to understand it. I just have
Yeah.
to be kind. I
Yeah.
just need to be kind and respectful.
Well, that's it, right? I mean, how many straight people do you know are assholes? There's a whole bunch of them. Jesus Christ.
No, and I think we're getting better at those topics, right? And
Right? I think so too.
having an adult child has really opened up my world to beliefs and systems. Like I listen to him because he's got things that he believes in or views differently than me. And it's so much fun to talk to him as an adult now and listen to him and go, I use this line a lot. I've never thought of it that way. You just changed my thinking. Because I never ever thought of that before because you live in a world that's different than mine. It's 30 years behind mine. And that's really interesting. Thank you for telling me that. I'm going to think on that now. Right. And so I love hearing I'm a person who does embrace change. Well, getting worse, but generally at this point, I'm getting more stuck in my ways. But generally I embrace change. I like to listen to it. I like to try to understand it. If it doesn't make sense to me, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't need to do what you said, like be a left winger. I'd scream about it. I go, that doesn't make any sense to me. But let's wait and see how it plays out.
Well, I always
Speak out when you need to.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, let's see how it's going to play out. I always find it interesting, so I had a friend of mine on Facebook and he put a post up about the UPC rhetoric of what's going on and that he's very upset about it. He doesn't want all this hate. He doesn't want all this division, that he wants that the UPC government is more supportive and inclusive and stop doing all this crazy shit. And there's a lot of conservatives that agree. It's not just liberals. There's lots of conservatives that say the same thing, but he happens to be liberal. And so right away, someone comes into his post and says, classic liberal. And I'm like,
and even if you don't agree with the politics, why are we attacking the person? So I'll use Justin Trudeau as an example. I wasn't necessarily in his court, but he is a human being. But the way he was personally attacked on social media is totally unjust, unfair behavior. It's just absolutely behavior you don't want to put out there. Like the man would probably be quite interesting to go sit down and have a beer with and a chat with. He's probably a really nice guy.
Yeah.
I didn't agree with his politics, but that doesn't mean he's a bad human. That means
agreed.
I disagree with him. Right?
But here's the thing. When I say centered thinking on both sides of the aisle, that it's very much centered thinking, which means that when I voted for Justin the first round, I was so excited. I was like somebody who's not like a fucking 100 years old. Like, I hate to say it, but all of our politicians tend to be a lot older. And so I was excited that there was a younger person coming in, that they were going to understand more stuff. They were going to be more, more inclusive and more understanding and, be a little bit more fucking hip. And I loved that. And, and I like the whole idea of it. Now, the first couple of years, I was like, Jesus Christ, Justin, what are you doing? And then, and then I watched this shit show play out and I was like, oh God. But I'll tell you, he was okay. He ended strong, but everything in between, I really wasn't. I was very disappointed, especially someone who was, a very big Justin Trudeau supporter in the beginning. I was really quite upset, but that's because I'm centered and Justin went too far left. And I'm very centered. Where people are like, oh, you sound conservative. I'm like, no, I sound like a person with a brain in my head.
He did some kind of questionable things as well along the way, which you kind of go,
questionable?
Are you polite? So it's the whole ethical thing, right? You're going, okay, turn off. But again, and that's, he's a political leader. Do not attack the personal man. Leave his family alone. Leave his ex-wife alone. It's happening. This is not a Justin Trudeau.
Go after his behavior.
Leave Keith Urban and Nicole alone. Divorces are hard. Why is all this crap coming on Facebook? If you go and look at my social media, I only do Facebook. Unless I just like little funny clips. Very rarely do I make any statements on Facebook about anything that's not light. If you went on there right now, you'd find out I made a really strong posting about how I feel about what's going on with the teachers. But it's not hateful speech. It's, I don't understand. Here's why this is important. Blah, 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 blah. And
I was an asshole on my podcast. I'm not even going to lie. I screamed my face off. I was like, you motherfucker. I was so mad. I was so mad. I don't like the Alberta Next panel. I think it's an absolute waste of money. I think it's an absolute waste of time. Their moderator, I still don't know his name. I've heard his name 1,000 times, but I'm someone that I
get in there.
Do you want, and you know what? I said it on my last podcast, and it is so true. If I don't remember your name, there's a good chance I don't think you're important enough.
You don't do that on purpose. I'm sure I don't do it on purpose either, but yeah, it really.
But that's what I'm saying.
I've never thought about it.
I do it on purpose. My brain says you're not important enough to remember, so I don't know your name. So will I remember your face? Yes, I have a photographic memory. I'll remember your face. But if I had an interaction with you that I didn't like, if I don't like your energy, if something happens that I don't find you, where my brain is like, you're not important. And that sounds really shitty. And people are like, that's really shitty. And I'm like, but that's how I am. That's who I am.
People are probably like, I think people are probably like that. Right?
Some people probably do. But then if I do remember your name and I don't like you and you come and try and like talk to me and it's not civil, like a cordial, hey, nice to see you, Lisa. Hope you're doing well. kind of conversation, which is just like the quick formalities of not being an asshole. And I'll say the same back. I'll be like, oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I trust you're doing well too. Nice to see you as well. And carry on, and you go your separate ways. Because I mean, we're all adults. We don't need to all be assholes all the time. But every once in a while, assholes are liked because they tell the truth, right? So, I mean, every once in a while, I got to be that person that kind of, when someone says, oh, I hope you're having a great day. And I'm like, do you? Because I hope you're having the day you deserve, like, because of something they've said or done that's really, it's for me, it comes down to being, like it's a justice inside of when I'm getting angry with someone. You're being unjust to someone. You're being unfair. You're being a wolf in sheep's clothing. I'm not going to be very nice to you. And then, there's men and women. So it's like, I'm not like, when people are like, oh, well, is it mostly men? No, it's both. Because, being a shitty person isn't just gender fucking side on one side or the other.
Many of these conversations are not gender specific. They're just not. I mean,
No.
At the end of the day, too, though, we have to acknowledge and proudly, men and women are different. We are different. And I embrace my being a woman. I'm happy I'm a woman. And I embrace all that comes with that. And the older you get, the more of a community women, well, because the kids are gone and blah, 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 blah. And oftentimes at my age, the spouses are gone. So it just becomes a stronger and stronger and stronger community. And I think as women, we're at an advantage that all comes to us naturally because it doesn't come to men naturally.
Yeah.
So, right?
I agree.
So
I agree.
We're different. Like, I need men. Like I know never get married again. It's just a choice I've made. But when I say I need men, it's a good balance to have male friends because it's a different perspective. Right?
Love that. It's true.
So
I don't need a man. Most women who get to that point, though, Sandy, it's so hard for a lot of people. I don't need a man, or I don't need a woman, or I don't need a person. It's very hard for people, but I agree with you. I need the opposite sex. I need gay men in my life. I need gay women in my life. I need all of it. You know why? Because they all bring something different, and they're so different, not just as people, but just as the different trials and tribulations they've gone through because of the organizations or because of how they identify. But they bring something rich to all of it.
I don't want people who discriminate, though. Those people. So that's probably the people who discriminate, period. You don't pick a topic. People who are discriminate, period. End of story, hard stop. That I don't need in my life. I don't want it. I don't need it.
I discriminate sometimes. I'm sorry. But, I agree with you. I agree with you when it's hateful.
Yeah.
So
when it's hateful.
For me,
I probably discriminate too, but I mean it's hateful.
I have friends in so many different cultures, background, organizations, whatever, and they all make fun of whatever they're going through. I have an Asian friend that tells me, I'll say, "Are you driving?" And he'll be like, "Is that smart?" And I'm like, "What did you just say?"
I love people who laugh at themselves.
And I just, and then I think it's funny, or I'm like, if I say, "Oh my God," I'll say something to some of my gay friends, and some of the stuff that they're like, "Oh my God, are you serious? You want me to do that? Me, of all people? Did you think that through?" And I'm like, I love you guys, but I'm the same way, right? I'm part Caribbean. My dad was from Guyana. My mom's from Quebec. And everyone always tells me, a lot of my friends, even my Caucasian friends, are like, "You are such a coconut. You're whiter than we are." And I'm like, I know.
But you're also very,
it's like
you're also that I'm very Quebecois.
Yeah.
Well, your outspokenness is very Quebecois. That's a Quebec thing.
I know. And keeping my maiden name, very Quebecois.
I kept my maiden name too, but I lived on the border of Quebec growing up, right? So, and you can't tell in Quebec by surnames if people are married, right? Because they
keep their own names.
They keep their own name. Actually, you have to pay to change your name.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
that's right.
In Alberta, I could go change my name tomorrow for nominal fee, but they paid dearly to change their names.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept mine.
But I always told my children, I'm always like, well, especially my daughter, I'm like, don't take anyone's name. If you're going to get married, which I'm going to advise against, and I tell both my kids that I'm like, I don't advise you to get married. I'm like, be in a relationship, live together, love each other, embrace each other, be together, get each other some rings, but don't put it on paper. Keep your own names, keep your own bank accounts.
Yeah,
Still be individuals. You guys can have a joint account, but have your own accounts.
I had the same, I didn't care if Taylor got married or didn't get married. If he's happy with his wife, they're happy. They opted to do the wedding and go down the wedding path. But they also opted, when they got introduced, because my dad did their wedding, when they got introduced as Mr. Taylor Pocock and Mrs. Susan Evans.
Mm-hmm.
So Mr. and Mrs., but it wasn't like the traditional Mr. and Mrs. Pocock. She looked at me along the way and she goes, "He wants me to take his name." And I'm going, "It's a terrible name."
the table. I love it.
And
Oh
he
my
sat at
God.
the
That's
table
so
looking at me going, aren't you my mother? Yeah, but that's a terrible last name. And you've gone through it with your buddies in high school and how many different ways they messed around with his name, making fun of
Taylor.
him. I said, do you want to do that to your kids?
Yeah.
Like, it's a terrible name.
Yeah, my kids have hyphenated last names. They have mine and their dad's. My daughter's pretty much already dropped her father's name. She just wants nothing to do with it. So she only goes by McGrath. My son goes by both,
Okay.
but it doesn't bother him. It bothers him when people just call him by his father's last name. It's like either it's my whole last name or my mom's last name because it's the first, right? So it's McGrath and then their father's last name, right? So they get really quite upset if you just call them directly their father's last name because that's not how they're named. But then my daughter, she's like, well, I don't like the last name. I'm like, I named you both names. So you can be upset about it. You can be upset with him. That's fine. But I named you, not him.
So my guy's
So,
my guy's first name is Taylor. So his name,
what's
he's
that?
got my son's first name is Taylor, my surname, and he's got
Yeah.
his father's surname as his surname. And the
Yeah.
reason for that, I was a family of 4 girls, and it was the end
Mhm.
of the family line. So myself and my
Yeah.
sister said whoever has the first child was going to name them Taylor. It happened to be me.
Mhm.
But he is so
Mhm.
secure within that. He doesn't care if you call him Taylor. He doesn't care if you call him Tay. He doesn't care if you call him Pocock. He doesn't care when people would say, are you Taylor Taylor? Because my last name is Taylor. He'd go,
Yeah.
no, man, I'm Taylor. Like Cher, Pink, Prince. Yeah.
Love
And
that.
I go, it's so
That's
wonderful that he's so secure within that space, that whatever, right? So
That's amazing. Okay, we're at the top of the hour, so we're gonna wrap up, my dear. So hang tight, and I will come back in a second here. But thank you so much for being on with me, Sandy. I hope you will come back and have some more chats about all of these wonderful things. It was awesome to have you here.
thank you.
So thank you.
Bye.
Okay, so thanks everybody. Thanks for listening. Let's see here. You guys will hear from me next week again. Every Wednesday we drop. We have a few more new people coming on. I'm interested because this is going to be the first. You're meeting them for the first time. I'm meeting them for the first time. So we'll catch you on the flip side and don't do anything crazy.
Try not to.